Several new developments in South Suburban Dolton today. First, the state comptroller has suspended some payments to the village because it has failed to follow the law by providing financial reports.
You could feel the anger tonight at a Board of Trustees meeting in Thornton Township. The board and citizens looking for accountability to their finances, while the Township Supervisor...
Is Tiffany Henyard's reign as Mayor of Dolton finally nearing its end? Rumors are swirling that federal agents have uncovered new evidence and secured fresh witnesses against her, placing Henyard at the center of a growing web of scandals. From allegations of financial misconduct to strange antics and potential betrayals by her closest allies, her once ironclad grip on the town seems to be loosening. Could this be the beginning of the end for Dolton's so-called super mayor? Let's dive into the juicy details and find out.
It's in deep debt, and that is the finding of an investigation of village finances and the spending habits of beleaguered Mayor Tiffany Henyard.
For those out of the loop, Tiffany Henyard has long been embroiled in controversy since taking office, with her tenure marked by a series of increasingly shocking scandals. But now the situation is escalating. The FBI is in town, subpoenas are being issued, and sources close to the investigation suggest that Henyard could be facing an arrest warrant at any moment. Rumor has it that the feds have unearthed some damaging information that could finally lead to Henyard's downfall, and surprisingly, some of this evidence is coming from one of her own associates.
One way that the government always does it is to go and investigate people around her, and that's what they're doing here.
Enter Lise Lacy, the disgraced former deputy police chief and once a staunch supporter of Tiffany Henyard. Now, Lacy finds himself embroiled in his own legal troubles, having been indicted on 9 counts, including bankruptcy fraud, making false statements, and even perjury. The allegations against him are serious, but what's even more intriguing is the speculation that he may be cooperating with authorities to save himself. If that's true, he could be revealing all sorts of damaging information about Henyard's dealings. If he does, Henyard might find herself left out in the cold.
Well, Mr. Lacy is absolutely not guilty of all 9 counts. I believe he's cooperating. And if you cooperate, you have to admit your guilt first.
Think about it. Lacy was someone Henyard trusted implicitly, even acting as her bodyguard at times, shielding her from critics and detractors. If he decides to flip, it's game over for her. It's like a bad soap opera. You couldn't make this stuff up. And it only gets better or worse, depending on your perspective. According to insiders, Lacy wasn't just a passive player in Henyard's schemes. He was right in the thick of it, involved in some of the very financial shenanigans that have landed him in hot water. We're talking thousands of dollars in questionable overtime, cozy deals, and who knows what else. With federal agents now scrutinizing every transaction, decision, and whisper in the corridors of Dolton's town hall, it's no wonder Henyard is sweating bullets.
We needed those officers to be on the street fighting crime, and instead we have several officers that are riding around protecting the mayor.
But it's not just Lacy who might be turning on Henyard. Other sources suggest that more insiders are ready to spill the beans. In fact, rumors are swirling that a former ally, possibly even someone from her own office, has been providing information to investigators. The whispers in Dolton are getting louder, and it seems Henyard's inner circle is cracking, with those who once stood by her now keeping their distance to avoid being dragged down with her sinking ship. Let's not forget the scandal involving her charity foundation, Tiffany Henyard Cares. On the surface, it seemed like a noble endeavor, a cancer charity in honor of her late father, but peel back the layers and you'll find something far less altruistic. The charity has been accused of serious mismanagement, including a lack of proper registration with the Attorney General's office and zero transparency about where the funds are going. And then there's the cease and desist order. That's right. The Illinois Attorney General's office issued a cease and desist order against Henyard's charity after discovering it was operating without the required paperwork. A charity that doesn't even bother to file the right documents? If that doesn't raise a red flag, what does?
But it saddens my heart that you are up here at this special meeting and not downstairs where we have big bingo.
And then there's the juicy detail about her spending habits. Remember the $33,000 she allegedly splurged in a single day on Amazon? That's right, folks. $33,000 in just one day, all on the taxpayer's dime. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. Former Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot, who was brought in as a special investigator to scrutinize Dolton's finances, uncovered a long list of questionable expenditures, including fine dining, first-class travel, and even personal items. Lightfoot was appalled, stating that Henyard treated the village's credit card like her personal ATM. With receipts like these, it's no wonder the village of Dolton is drowning in debt.
Who would make a one-day purchase of over $40,000 to Amazon? And the main thing is, what is it?
Speaking of debt, the village's finances have taken a nosedive since Henyard took office. Lightfoot's investigation revealed that what was once a multi-million-dollar surplus has now turned into a staggering $365 million deficit. How does one burn through millions so quickly? By living large, of course. Lavish trips, luxury hotels, you name it, Henyard spared no expense. She even billed taxpayers for a series of political junkets, a fancy term for what most of us would call a vacation. And these weren't just any junkets. They were trips to New York, Atlanta, and other hotspots, racking up tens of thousands in hotel bills, including a jaw-dropping $9,347 stay at the Four Seasons in Atlanta. I mean, come on, who does that? And all of this while the village is sinking deeper into debt.
The township residents are paying for her fund.
Henyard's antics have not gone unnoticed by state officials either. Illinois Comptroller Susana Mendoza has stepped in, freezing payments to the village until they get their financial house in order. Mendoza didn't hold back, calling Henyard's behavior disrespectful to the people of Dolton, and who could disagree? The town is falling apart while the mayor lives like royalty. It's like a scene from a reality TV show, but the consequences here are all too real. Let's not forget how Henyard ended up in this position. Her story is one of ambition, manipulation, and some would say deceit. Tiffany Henyard wasn't always the embattled mayor we see today. She began her tenure with high hopes and big promises. Elected as the mayor of Dolton in 2021, she rode a wave of support, appearing young and charismatic while vowing to clean up the town's act. However, as time went on, those promises turned to dust. Instead of transparency, there were cover-ups. Instead of accountability, there was arrogance. Her time in office has been marked by an almost relentless pursuit of self-interest.
I think you should pay everybody. Is there a reason why you guys are not paying whatever that vendor is?
What was it for?
It was for shirts. That's what it's for. You do that.
One of the early signs of trouble was Henyard's handling of the town's police department. Almost immediately after taking office, she began shaking things up, replacing senior officials with people she could trust, like Lacey. Initially, it seemed like a savvy political move, consolidating power and ensuring loyalty. However, it soon became clear that this wasn't about good governance, it was about control. Henyard wielded her power like a club, silencing critics and pushing through her agenda, often at the expense of the town's well-being. Her leadership style earned her the nickname Dolton Dictator, and it wasn't just for show. There were reports of her using the police department to settle personal scores, pursuing detractors with a zeal that bordered on obsession. Then there was the alleged misuse of police resources for her personal protection, racking up enormous overtime costs for officers. Some claim she ran the town like her own personal fiefdom, and there's plenty of evidence to back that up. It's almost tragic. Here was someone who entered office promising change, yet all she delivered was chaos. From her questionable spending to her erratic behavior at town meetings, often speaking into a golden microphone, no less. Henyard has done little to inspire confidence. Instead, she has left behind a trail of mistrust, anger, and debt.
Sometimes we get invoices, but those invoices lead to more questions, and sometimes we don't get answers to those questions. And so it's not about clickbait, it's about just making sure the right thing is being done.
And now it seems the chickens are coming home to roost. With federal agents sniffing around, subpoenas piling up, and allies turning their backs, Henyard's once secure position looks increasingly precarious. Rumors are flying fast, and the people of Dolton are growing restless. They want answers. They want accountability. Most of all, they want a mayor who isn't constantly making headlines for all the wrong reasons.
The manpower was just very stressed and critical to the point of almost breaking.
But what's next for Henyard? Can she weather the storm, or is this the end of the road for Dolton's so-called super mayor? Only time will tell, but one thing is clear. Things are not looking good. With every new piece of evidence and each fresh allegation, the walls are closing in. As this unfolds, the people of Dolton are left wondering if it was all worth it for Henyard. The answer might soon come in the form of a pair of handcuffs. Stay tuned, folks, because this story is far from over. Henyard may be down, but she's not out yet. With her back against the wall, she's sure to come out swinging, but will it be enough to save her, or is it too late? One thing is certain, Dolton will never be the same again. Fan reactions to Tiffany Henyard's scandal-ridden tenure as mayor are as fiery as the controversies themselves. Many are quick to express their frustrations and disbelief over the ongoing misconduct and the lack of accountability. One particularly vocal resident commented, "I recognize that the residents didn't get a vote in electing her as supervisor, but if they re-elect her, they get what they deserve." It's not just about Henyard's questionable leadership skills. There's a deep sense of betrayal felt by those who have watched her rise to power. As another fan pointed out, you know what's the saddest part of all this? It doesn't get a lot of focus. She is a born and raised Dolton citizen. That's her true home. She is brutally taking advantage of it. Stealing is bad, but stealing from your family is even worse. The people in your hometown are family. It's clear that for many, this isn't just about politics, it's personal. Henyard's actions are seen not only as a betrayal of her office, but also as a betrayal of the community she was meant to serve. So what do you think? Will Tiffany Henyard manage to escape the latest allegations, or is this the final chapter of her controversial reign? If she does face legal consequences, do you believe justice will be served, or is there more drama yet to unfold? We want to hear your thoughts. Drop a comment and let us know where you stand. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.